Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. And today we're going to be talking about how to get more productivity out of your small business. Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. How do we increase productivity as a small business owner or on a small business team? So I own a small business. I consult small businesses, as well as I sit on the board of 3 small businesses. So I have experience in this. And getting more productivity is always a daily challenge. And let me tell you the difference between those small businesses that do increase productivity on a routine basis, or are very productive on a routine basis, I should say, versus the ones that struggle with productivity. They go in spurts. And it has to do with 3 critical areas that I've seen the difference. Number 1, you're recruiting productive people. I know that sounds so obvious, but most problems are resolved in business by the fundamentals, by addressing the fundamentals. And that's what I'm going to be addressing in today's video and podcast is the fundamentals. If you're a small business person with just a few people and you're trying to get the most out of those few people and you're looking to find other good people, that's where it really begins. Do you have productive people? Do these people have the personal ethos? Is their ethics level at a point where they have pride in being productive? That doesn't mean they always are, but there is a continuous effort on their part to be productive versus the person who throws their hands up, points fingers, blames, doesn't show up, is lazy, lets personal problems consume them beyond assistance. You know what I'm talking about. And I believe that a small business should always be recruiting. And I want you to get the difference between recruiting and hiring. Hiring is you actually put the person under contract in some legal form. Whether it's a 1099 or they're actually an employee, you actually retain their services and you work out some level of compensation. That's different than recruiting. Recruiting is you're always looking for good people. And I believe that one of the faults is that people only recruit when they need to hire. When in actual fact, you should be recruiting all the time for people to join your team, whether you're hiring or not. Because let's admit it, they can be flaky. You can have somebody that you think is a good employee, a good team member, and then something happens in their life. Someone dies, they need to move, they unfortunately get a disease, they get pregnant, their mom is in trouble, they get tired of the job. We could find a million reasons why people leave, and those million reasons exist. But if you're always recruiting, then you always have opportunities to add people. So when you get that shock and loss of your best person leaving, or even the marginal person leaving, you've got other people set up. So I'm always looking for opportunity. I'm always looking for new team members, whether or not I'm hiring at that moment. I just want them in my back pocket. I want to have a reservoir of resources. So that's your HR department, or you, if you're wearing that from above. You need to always be recruiting and looking for great talent. Because you may already have great talent, but let's admit it, great talent moves. We see this in sports. We see this in big business. But the fact is it also exists in small business. So always look for and always recruit good talent. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, you have to train good talent. Just because they're an ethical person, they're a productive person, they're a good person, they're affable, they're friendly, that does not mean that they're going to always know what you do or how you do it or how you want it done. Moreover, we're living in a very fast-paced world where technology, systems, customs all change. Customer needs change, technology changes. So you have to take those good people and you have to constantly train them on whatever developments or strategies that you have. So if you want better closing, then you need to train them on how to close better. If it's how to use a CRM, well, are they trained on how to use the CRM that you have or that you just purchased? Are you training them on the updates, the new capabilities that the CRM has? So that's the second point. You have to be constantly educating, briefing, training on a daily, weekly basis, particularly whatever technology you're surrounded with or whatever challenges they're having. Identify their challenges, find the correct education. There's so much information on YouTube. There's so many podcasts and online courses that one can direct someone to. Invest in your employees, invest in your team members, get them educated, find out what they're struggling with, find out how they can be enhanced, and use educational tools to enhance them. That's point number 2. Point number 3, accountability. But accountability with processes and KPIs, with statistics. So accountability isn't having a weekly meeting and getting upset and going, hey guys, I thought we went over this. That's not accountability. That's frustration. And I see that type of accountability, quote unquote, that very small level of organization, that in reality, it's just a bunch of frustrations, allegations, recriminations, generalities that have no specific indicators or steps or goals or milestones to measure whether or not we're actually moving towards said goal. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I was going to run an office of realtors. Now, that when I say office, it could be virtually. It could be a bunch of realtors that are, I run remotely, or they could be in the office. Today, these days, it's more I'm running my team remotely. Well, the systems would be, here's what we expect when you come on as a team member. Here's the performance indicators that we're looking to. Here are the KPIs that you're going to report to us on a weekly basis. And these are the expectations of how many of these KPIs we're going to expect you to meet. It could be, we expect you to make at least 20 phone calls per day and schedule one appointment, whether that appointment's online, virtually, or in person, preferably in person. You're scheduling someone to see a house or show them a house or find them a house. That's what we expect every day. We expect 15 calls and one appointment. And on top of that, we expect one new listing a week. And we expect 2 homes closed in escrow per month. And when you have that level of expectations and processes and ways, and here's how you report it. You report it, at the beginning of the week on Monday and at the end of the week on Friday. These are the report days. This is where your KPIs go. This is the minimum that we expect. You can always exceed it. If you're having problems with this, here's some educational materials on how to be better on the phone, how to close more appointments, how to close more deals, how to do presentations, right? So let's take a look at these 3 all in combination. Number 1, I've hired a productive person. Step 1, I've got something to start with. Number 2, I'm investing education in the very things that I'm going to expect them to do. How to make an appointment. What scripts do I have to put them on the phone? How to close. How to present. So I'm going to make sure that this information is not only available, but I work with them to set said time, whether it's a half hour a day, an hour a day, or a 2-hour training session per week, whatever it is. I make it part of my business process and expectations that they educate and train on the skills necessary to meet the KPIs, to meet the expectations of what is productivity. In the case of the real estate agent, productivity is houses sold. Before that is houses under contract. And before that is people contacted to put houses under contract. That's how we measure that. Then I'm going to have accountability where they have to report, and we discuss why they're successful, why they're not successful, what problems they are having, what successful actions that they've, kind of unearthed that they can double down on. This is what good leadership is. I've got an exact program and system that I'm running them against, and I measure them with. None of this generality of, I thought I said this, and I thought I told you this, and I expected this. So, and there's plenty of productivity tools out there. Plenty of CRMs. There's plenty of statistical management software. There's plenty of product management, system management tools that you can use to put these people in. These are the fundamentals of productivity. This is what I do. Do we have the right people? Are we training them? Are they suffering from lack of knowledge or wisdom or skill sets? What are they? How do we remedy that? What technology, what training, what books, what courses do we give to put them in a position to succeed? And number 3, are we measuring them? Have we delineated, articulated exactly what we expect from them statistically? And do we have a set of sub-statistics, sub-KPIs that will lead to the ultimate KPI? Meaning we may have 3 or 4 things necessary to accomplish for that ultimate KPI called a house sold. And are we measuring that so that we can see that sequence of actions that lead to success? If we do those 3 things, you will see more productivity. Now, if you're a little bit bigger as a business owner and doing all of that is too much time consuming. As I've interviewed before, many people on Growth Driven hire an assistant to put in these systems and be that guard dog, if you will, that ensures that all of these fundamentals are being applied. Are we always looking for opportunity in terms of recruits, new team members, whether we're hiring or not? Are we always letting them know that we're a great place to work at? Number 2, are we investing in the right people in terms of training, time, care, education, knowledge, etc.? And number 3, do we have a system to measure them by? Are we holding them accountable? Are we debugging when they don't meet those numbers? Are we helping them understand why they're making those numbers or why they're not making those numbers? And if we continue to do 1, 2, and 3 over and over and over a long period of time, and we document what works, and we add those to our systems and KPIs, lo and behold, you now have a very productive business. And those are the fundamentals of productivity. Now, if you're looking to take your game of marketing and branding with what I just said as a fractional or virtual chief marketing officer, I love working with brands that really want to put in that level of systems so that they can see the growth that they have always envisioned. This has been another edition of Growth Driven with Edwin Deborn. Make it a great day.